Welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you for having me.
Heather Hentschel with HellaTan.
Yes, sir.
So HellaTan, the way I understand it, is it's basically a tanning salon doubled as like a clothing boutique?
Correct.
Okay.
So in San Diego, I started HellaTan because I was tired of having people tell me what to do for jobs and showing up and working for them for money. And so I was like, I've been in the tan industry 18 years.
Right.
I started at California Sun Centers right over on 49.
Okay.
And I just kind of really gravitate towards it. It's like empowering just to have women be able to come to me and have this service. And it's spray tanning. So it's, personable, and you're in a room with a nude woman that you never seen before, don't know anything about. But I saw the industry that needed it, and it was mobile. So I would actually only do mobile tans, and like I would sit in traffic, so they didn't have to. I would be at their convenience, which I could charge anything. People like convenience.
Right.
So that was going on for about 5 years. And then when COVID hit last year, I was like, well, I lost my bartending job at night, and then I lost all my clients, which is about 10 clients a day. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? So everything just gravitated moving back to Auburn, to my roots. I was like, back to the Hella.
Yeah.
Back to NorCal. So I was like, it felt right. I've been wanting to move for about 3 years back, just to be with family and my sisters and my family. And so I was walking around. So I moved back and didn't really do anything with tanning. People kind of knew that I was there, but no need for tans just because no one was going out of their house. And then I came across a little studio in Old Town, right in front of the Valero. And I was like, this is a historic place. It had it was an old bank, had a room already like made. I was like, okay, I want this. So everything just kind of happened. And I just took all my savings and put it into that, and stimulus check, put it in that. Yep. I didn't just save it or spend it on any like bullshit stuff.
Yeah, you're good. It doesn't matter.
Okay. And so it just kind of started building, and I studied fashion design at Sierra College for a couple of years, and that's always been my passion ever since I was young, is to start my own clothing line or be a stylist of some sort. And I love shopping, so I always go to thrift stores and find really unique pieces that I had an eye for, and kind of just started accumulating things in different sizes, and started dressing my sister and dressing my friends, and kind of just showing what I like to do. And it just became a business out of like the passion of my heart. And now it is what it is.
So how long ago did you move into the spot in Old Town?
I signed a lease in September and had my first rack of clothing, and my first client, I would say Black Friday opened. Okay. I was just like, nice. I'm opening. And then February the 13th of this year, I did a grand opening. But I'm just in the like.
That's cool. I love the fact that there are people starting businesses. I mean, not that you weren't doing it before, but it's a new chapter. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And instead of kind of just sitting around waiting for everything to be perfect. Yeah. Just like, there's a stimulus check. It's going right into the business. Let's do it. Yeah. I love that.
And it really, I mean, there was a part of me was just like, stop being scared of like failure, because everything I've learned in like entrepreneurship is you have to fail to learn. And like, I failed already so much. Right. And but it's good. It makes you learn like who you are, what your strengths are, and it shows you what you don't know. And it really humbles you to mean like, I don't know anything about anything until I know it. And then you're like, you can build off that, how much you don't know off that. So it's just an awesome experience for me, because San Diego was crazy. I was in that party life. I was just like living life the way I thought was cool. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm in my 30s. Like, I need to get my shit together and really have something to like, wake up for instead of like the next party or whatever. Right. So Auburn was a good slow pace for me, and I knew that, and I just had to like step back.
Where did you get the idea to have the boutique like paired with the spray tans? Is it just kind of like, well, I have the space, why not just like infuse what I'd like my passionate about? And it was just pretty natural.
Yeah, it just seemed like a good fit. Like, while people are tanning, like if I do a tanning party, people have something to do and look at clothes. So, and
oh, that's true. That's like when like for weddings.
Yeah.
And like the bride and the bridesmaids, and they're like that's like a thing that they do. They all get spray tans.
Yeah.
It's like, or I'm sure it's pretty common, right?
Yeah, I do like spray tanning parties. So if you're gonna have 10 girls in there, what are you gonna do? Sit around and talk to each other?
Right.
Which is fine, but it's easier.
Right. Sell them some shit.
Yeah, it's easier to give them some champagne and then have them just try things on, and
Isn't that like a girl's dream, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's like your best friend's closet. Like I remember when I was younger, my mom and my dad always had these. They went to Amway functions, or they went to, and they always got dressed up. And my mom had these racks of clothes in her walk-in, and I was like little. I remember looking up and seeing all these textiles and glittery stuff that caught, the lights of the closet. And I'm like, this is so cool. I want to dress like this all the time.
Right.
And so I started finding these dresses as I got older, and I'm like, it still reminds me of my mom's closet.
Yeah.
So it just kind of takes me back to that age where I'm like, I want to be grown up.
Right.
It's overrated, but so it's such a nostalgic feeling to just sit there and like see vintage pieces, because I have furs from the 1950s and 40s.
Wow.
Yeah, that are like back then the clothing wasn't like manufactured the way it is now.
Right.
It's made to last decades.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful to know how many people tried this on. What is their story?
Right.
That's what I like about thrifted clothes, because you never know where it came from.
Oh, that's interesting too. Yeah, to think about that. Like this could have been like spent most of its life in another country. Like who knows? And then just like ended up here because somebody was wearing it when they came here.
Yeah, it's like you go into a house that's built in the 40s. Like how much story is there? Like where did these people travel in these clothes? Like what did they do? Were they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So.
Well, I mean, like I just bought my dad's house and I grew up in it.
Yeah.
And he owned it for 30 years, and then I know my whole history was there, but then it was built in the 50s, so then like
oh wow,
there's families living in there before, and now I'm raising my kids, Yeah, that is interesting. But that's great. Have tanning parties and then let them shop.
Yeah,
I love that. It's like the second sales right there.
Yeah, and it eases people into like going into a tanning room with me, which I've never had an issue. Like, right. But the bond is super quick with women when they have to
be vulnerable like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's pretty awesome that they are comfortable with me. So, and they get to shop. I mean, I would love that. And I also do mobile, so I can come to them and, if they have kids and can't get away, can't find some time for themselves, I can go and set up a mobile, little tent and some clothing for them and do styling parties at their house.
So, so the main function really of the like the clothing shop is to have it all there for like waiting people, the people who are at the party. It's less for like foot traffic, but like I know you probably have hours where you're just like open.
Yeah. I'm open 11 to 6 Wednesday through Sunday, and then Tuesday 12 to 4. Yeah. Then Monday I go and search around. It's pretty slow on Mondays. Right. Mm-hmm. But I'm always willing to take, clients.
Right. That's cool. Well, what's been the hardest part so far? Like it's like in this particular chapter.
Well, the style in Auburn's a little bit more laid back. Yeah. And it's a lot more hikey kind of look, and more hippie kind of just relaxed cottons and whatnot. So I have this punch of color and enthusiasm with my style, which I want women to go in there, just try things on that they don't know they want, but then they try and they're like, oh, well, shit, I look in this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the hardest part is being new and really getting people in there, because it is a little tough of a spot. Everyone's like, this is a great location. You have the freeway. I'm like, yeah, people are flying by it.
Yeah, they're not seeing it on it. That's not.
Yeah, but I'm in front of a gas station. So
what the traffic that you have is the people that are driving in between you and the Valero.
Yeah.
Trying to get into Old Town, and they're going to be like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
That's,
But there's me, and then Juice, and then Crimson Tattoo, and then the rest are empty. So people like see that it's empty, so it's like, hey, what's really up there? But
I think I saw a picture of your storefront, though. Like, you have big, like platinum colored capital letters.
It says HellaTan, I fake it.
Yeah.
You know? And people are like, I fake it. I'm like, come here, let me tell you about what faking it is.
Yeah.
But
my wife's all about it. She's like, you're going to get me spray tan credits? I'm like, well, honey, you're trying to jump in the gun right now.
Yeah. No, definitely have her come in.
I'm like,
I mean, in San Diego, I was doing it for 5 years, and the first year was the hardest to have people like be like, oh, you're new, you know what you're doing? I'm like, I do. Like, it's an art for me. But I mean, I had almost like 400 consistent clients. Wow. And I just straight up and left. And, you know, my clients are like, hey, are you in town? I'm like, oh, it's money. But I also love my clients. They're family. It's like I have girls that, this one girl, Heather.
Different Heather.
Different Heather. You know what I mean?
It's not your alter ego personality.
No, she's not around right now. No, this girl, Heather, like, she's like, oh, I'm going on a date with this guy. And she ends up, like, you know, dating him for a while. And then, you know, she's getting engaged. And then married. And then they get a house. So I'm through these milestones with these people that, you know, it's like I'm a little part of it, but I'm a part of it.
Right.
So it's like, you know, I'm in there, like, I tanned her for engagement photos. And then also her twin sister, you know, she was pregnant. And I tanned her for her baby pictures, the pregnancy pictures. So it's like they become my friends, and it's just like it's hard because it was so hard to leave San Diego, but I know, like, you know, I can restart again.
Totally. But
restarting it's empowering and it's scary.
I think you can do that as many times as necessary, so long as you keep finding that meaning in your work, right? Yeah. And that seems to be like a common thread.
Yeah.
With like everybody we talk to.
Yeah.
Is finding the meaning in it's almost like the meaning is usually like almost pre-infused in the whole idea. Like when we started and we were being like, okay, yeah, we're going to help people build websites and do marketing. And because what we identified was like kind of how you mentioned, like Auburn's kind of like a laid back, like there's a lot of like hardcore winners here for sure.
Oh, for sure.
It's not saying it doesn't contrast with that. It's just that the culture is like not like the rat race. You know,
right.
100%.
It's like, hey, I just got back from a hike and now I'm going to have brunch. And so, but that casuality that infects people's businesses and it makes it so that they don't put their shit out there as much as they should.
Yeah.
Right. So they're casual with their business too, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so it can kind of be a detriment to their marketing and their brand, because I'm like, you have something really great going here. Why aren't you like showing it off? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, no, like put a big thing on the front of your thing that says I fake it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's super intimidating being like, this is my vision, and people don't come in for like a month. You're like, well, am I doing something wrong? Sometimes people don't get it. Some people don't notice you, and you're right. Some people just sit there and like twiddle their thumbs. You're like, why is anyone coming in? It's like, well, what noise are you making in this town?
Yeah.
Like we all in Auburn, everyone's like, oh, something new? We're going. Like, and have such a great support in Auburn. People are like, oh, new business, I'll still come in.
Right.
With my grand opening, there's people coming in left and right, and they're like, oh, I saw a flyer, I just want to come and support a small business. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
In San Diego, be like, oh, you're going to be done in like a month. You're like, oh, screw you.
Well, so that's like the magic bullet here is the community.
Yeah.
I was talking to, I think it was my wife, about how great it is that, so this is, I didn't mean to say it like this, but like, okay, so like there's tragedies happen and in you know, people lose family members or whatever. And then because of the community being so tight, it's like somebody fires up a GoFundMe.
Yeah. And
like they just smash their goals.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, and then everybody you see in the comment section that's donating, you're like, you know, 3/4 of the people.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I know that person. I know that person. I know that. And so like the tragedies hit hard in the community, but they're also like super supported. Yeah. And so with that said, you know, when you think about business, it's like, it's pretty easy to word things in a way that shows you're not being spammy about your marketing, your business. Yeah. And you're like, hey, come support a new local business. Like you could literally just say it like that, you know, tanning salon in Old Town. And people are like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for my spray tan. I'm so sick of this like cave shit. Yeah. Like waiting around. So Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So about a month went by and you were starting to get worried, and then.
Yeah. I mean, I started with one rack of clothing and some donated items and some just fun things I found that, I just did a budget and just so I could spend. And, there's one day where I had one girl come in and buy $300 worth of dresses for her birthday.
You go, girl.
And yeah, she looked great. And, it was pretty awesome that she did that. And, with my store, looking like it did.
At the time.
Yeah. And, that was the only sale for that month. I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then.
Where do you get the clothes? How do you go about that?
Well,
like sourcing your products.
So I go thrifting and
Right.
I just find I do I go for hours at a time, probably 6 hours.
Right.
And I'm always looking at different styles, what's trending, what was trending 10 years ago, because I feel like that's recycled fashion all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And just really listening to what girls want and what I think.
It's kind of like keeping a pulse on all of that.
Yeah. What would bring out, a different personality in somebody. So it's like, people always wear, I don't know, it's like women put dresses on or when men put a suit on. They know that suit fits good and they know they'll look good in it. And it brings out a whole different personality.
Yeah.
It's true. I actually dressed up yesterday for some reason.
And it feels good.
Yeah, I don't know.
You
I
just walk different.
Yeah. I'm wearing a t-shirt now.
Yeah.
But like for some reason yesterday I put on like long pants, like they were like khaki color, and like my button-up shirt, and I was like, and I even put on my nicer shoes that like you would wear. I don't know if you had like a job.
Yeah.
For something like a desk job.
Exactly.
And I just felt like you said, it's just weird. Like you feel on point.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like why don't I do that every day? Mm-hmm. Because the reason I don't is because it doesn't feel like me.
Yeah.
It's fine enough now and then.
Yeah.
And then it makes me feel like that thing that you're describing.
Yeah.
But it's also like I kind of just like to wear my t-shirt and just feel like me.
Of course. Yeah, there's days where, I'm like, I want to stay in sweats all day or wear yoga, clothes. And then there's days where it's like, okay, I feel sassy. Like I want to dress up. I want to put some heels on. Like I want to do this thing. So I'm not saying you have to dress up every day, but there's those days where you're like, I wish I had like a cool piece of like, I don't know, cool jacket or cool shoes. Like my boyfriend, he was the same way. He's like t-shirt and jeans, and he started going thrifting with me. He's like, what is fashion? Polka dots and stripes match to him. And so he actually owns Lucky J's Pizza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Joshua.
Okay.
And so I started taking him, and he started understanding like fashion and what to look for and his sizing and stuff. So he just found a little part of him to express, and it is a true expression of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're
like
lazy, you want to wear sweats, you're not going to wear a suit.
It's just like dressing up a pizza. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like remember, it all has to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's fun. And then so I also with HellaTan, a lot of the clothing that is going to be like not sold, I want to find a women's shelter in Auburn to give this to.
Oh, that's smart.
For a reach out program, like HellaTan's more than just, a spray tanning and boutique. I really want it to be a place where women could feel safe to come into, express themselves. Something's not going right at home or in their own life that they need to talk to someone about. Like to know this is a safe space that you're not going to be judged here. You can talk to if you need like us to call somebody to help you.
Right.
Like come here.
Yeah.
So I want a place for that. That's
a great approach.
Yeah.
To business is to have the we call it like something greater, and I think it's the it factor for a lot of businesses. It's kind of like the aura.
Yeah.
That a business embodies that separates them from anybody that's supposedly like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, God actually really led me to this place, and I had, right when I was opening, some ladies came in and they're like, I just need to tell you something. I was like, okay, what? She's like, this place is meant for bigger things than you can even imagine. I was like, oh, wow. And I've been a Christian my whole life and really walked in faith. And So what they said to me really like just sat with me. And it was something like I was just thinking in my mind, I'm like, I really want this a place for women to come and just be able to have just breathe. Because I know sometimes these things get a little too much for everybody. And when they came in, they're like, this is going to be, you know, bigger than you expect. This is more than what you expect. And God's really going to place his hands in here and help you. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, I got to make this work then. You got to really put a lot of pressure on me. But
I got big guns upstairs telling me what to do now.
Yeah. So since then, it's always just I'm like, this is a place where I want to help women. Yeah. Just be a voice for them if they can't have their own. So
that's great.
That's really awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that's fantastic. And I think hosting like now that you have like that storefront.
Yeah.
You know, with the way things are going, with everything kind of being more opened up as compared to like 2020 and whatnot, I could see you having like little events.
Yeah.
There.
Well, it's cool because in the
like little cocktail parties or something.
Yeah. So I have the old bank. So you open up the doors to the backyard, and I have a courtyard.
Hold on, is there still a vault or anything in there?
The vault is my tanning room. It's called The Vault.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's painted gold.
Yeah.
Just to go with the theme. And the floors are from the original floors from the 1900s.
Wow.
It's
That's
solid.
So cool.
Yeah, it is really cool to know like that's the first gold that passed through.
All right, ladies, all the money's in the back. Let's go.
Yeah. But so I know there was a huge robbery there. And crazy enough, after me and my boyfriend had been together for a little bit, he's like, he saw the bank and he's like, my grandpa did the story on the robbery here.
Like a journalist? He was a journalist or something like that?
He wrote the story of how it happened. I forget all the names, but I guess Hollywood was trying to get, you know, the book to write a script off of it and, you know, offered them money. But his grandma still gets royalties for every book sold.
Wow.
So there's a huge story, and there's like a murder up and across the freeway up where they
up on the hill over there.
Yeah. It was just wild. Like everything connects. It's such a small town, so I'm not surprised.
Now I want to go to the library and dig.
Yeah, I have a book at my place that you can look through, but I know that one of the banks in downtown I forget what bank it's by.
Probably the older building.
It's across from Mickey's Boots, that bank.
Oh, I think that is U.S.
Anyways, but they have all these different artifacts from it. It's pretty cool. It's how everything's connected in this town.
Right.
I lost my train of thought.
The robbery.
Oh yeah, the robbery. So it's like I have like historic photos from 1900s like posted up in my salon, and I show people. I'm like, here's the door from the vault, and here's the back door. Oh, the back door. So I was like, I know we were going somewhere with that. But I have a courtyard that overlooks kind of down. You can look down at the Cali Club.
Okay.
But I'm going to turn that into like a little oasis, like with chairs and lounging and lights. And
where you can like sip margaritas or something.
Yeah. You know, have Cabana Boys back there. But but it's, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy because it's so beautiful and it's so quiet that if you wanted to rent out that space, or you can host a party or a bachelorette party, it's just
that'd be cool.
Yeah. And you can rent out that whole space for a couple hours, like go, you know, hang out in the back, go shopping, get a tan.
Do you think yourself kind of as like a visionary type? Like you kind of you're really good at imagining something before it happens?
Yeah.
I've
always been yeah.
I can kind of tell too. I talked to somebody recently. It was like yesterday. Max. He owns Max's Deli.
Okay.
Yeah, I went in and got a sandwich yesterday without meat because it was Good Friday. It was really good. And anyway, so I'm sitting there talking to him, and he was explaining, actually, I think his dad or a close family member actually built this business park that we're sitting in right now.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But when he was talking to me, he had his hands like literally in the air like this.
Yeah.
And he was like describing what he was saying with his hands. And I'm like, you're in full imagination right now.
Yeah.
And then he had also mentioned he had remodeled that sandwich shop like 3 times in its history. And I'm like, dude, only like some freaking like visionary person like me would do that. We're like sit there and like tweak on their sandwich shop 3 times in 20 years. Whereas like a person who's kind of more kind of just like things are the way they are.
Yeah.
They just leave it. Like it works. Like they cranks out sandwiches and makes money. But it's like sometimes some of us are like, we're just like so obsessed with like creating like that thing that's in our head. I mean, you're talking about Cabana Boys in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing another launch party of HellaTan Beach. So this is to launch all my new summer wear, my bikinis, and hopefully by I think we're doing, what are we in? April?
Yeah, beginning of April.
May. So the week before Labor Day, I want to do another grand opening of HellaTan Beach, and this is just going to reintroduce myself again, just to get some noise out there.
Yeah, you do that as many times as you damn want.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I started this business and now I'm already thinking about another business I want to start.
Right.
Like, I just don't like stopping, especially when it comes to business. I've always been this entrepreneur. Like, I used to take my bows that I put in my hair they had little hair clips in the early 90s. And we lived right between the fairgrounds in Pleasanton, between the fairgrounds and downtown. And there was a candy store I liked to go to. I think it was like Randy's store. I think his name was Randy.
Randy's Candies.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So it was a cool guy, and I always wanted Airheads, and I know at that time they were like 5 or 10 cents a piece. And my dad's always like, if you want them, make money. Yeah. So I would take apart my bows and re-glue them and sew them and
flipping bows.
Yeah, and I would go and sell them for $0.25 or $1 or 4 for $1 and, make $10.
HellaTan is just the greater incarnation of that.
Totally. I would, when I went to Placer, I was a freshman, and I had made a book bag out of my old jeans. And so girls were like, where'd you get that? I'm like, I sewed it and made it. So I was like, well, bring 2 pairs of jeans that you don't wear. I'll take them apart and it'll be $20. Right. They gave me their clothes. Right. Like there was no overhead.
Right.
So and then I'd make this book bag and it would last. And so I just started doing that, and ever since, it's just kind of always in me to see something that people don't use and create something bigger out of it. So everything has a purpose if it's not one or a dozen.
Right.
So
I had a buddy who would, on his way to, you mentioned high school, on his way to school in the mornings, he'd stop at the grocery store and get a dozen donuts or 2 dozen.
Yeah.
And they're like, when you buy them in that quantity, they're like, what, like 25 cents a piece or something? And he'd be like selling them for $1 at school. And he did this for like a few months, and he was just like making hundreds of dollars. And I think eventually the school's like, hey man, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I commend that. Yeah. That spirit.
I don't understand why schools would even be like, I mean, that's what they teach you.
Right.
Yeah. They teach us
it's
so
like
much
that's
stuff.
what they should be teaching you is useful.
I don't remember anything in high school that I'm like, I would like to learn how to do my taxes. Yeah. Still have no idea how to do that.
I was talking to somebody recently too about that, where they're like, it was my nephew. He's in high school, and he was like, I don't care about algebra. Like, he's like, I kind of wish somebody would just teach me how to like you said, like do taxes or fill
an application for a job.
Like how to run like power equipment.
Something.
Like to like do yard work type stuff. How to fix a car. I mean, they have auto shop and stuff, but but there's a lot of basic life skills that it's like it's weird because you're like, okay, factually every adult needs to know how to do this. Yeah. Why are these things not taught? But then the things that are taught are like freaking quadratic formula.
Yeah. I know my niece, she's 10 and she's learning her multiplication. And I'm like, this is something you need to learn. After multiplication, you're good. You don't need to care about anything else. Like, this is something you need in life. But yeah, I totally agree. High school, I feel it's not a waste of time, but it's a waste of time for them not teaching you what you really need to know. Like, they're like, oh, Tommy went in a rowboat. I'm like, well, did Tommy pay rent? Like, I would like to know, like, let's know that there's rent and bills. Like, that are, part of life. But I haven't been a rowboat ever.
Yeah.
we got off track.
Sorry.
I feel like, no, it's cool. I feel like we were talking about something and we like, was it that you're talking about?
Just
Randy's,
entrepreneurship.
Oh yeah, how that started. Yeah. Yeah. So making jean purses.
Yeah. I mean, eventually I would love to have my own clothing line.
Yeah.
That's something that I've always been passionate about.
I know a couple people who make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money with clothing lines.
Yeah.
Who's done pretty well? So, Brian Nabavi owns Till You Collapse.
Oh.
I don't know if you are
like MMA clothes.
It's very it's
workout.
The brand.
Okay.
It is, and it's kind of like a very like hardcore, passionate brand.
Yeah.
It's called Till You Collapse, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And like he's like right here in Loomis, and like he has a great business.
Yeah.
It just like blew up on Instagram. It went heavy on content marketing.
Nice.
And he has his own like they're his products. Like I think what they sell most of are like leggings. Mm-hmm. Like for ladies, and it's like I'm pretty sure that they're just like shooting them out of cannons.
Oh,
like
we like our leggings.
You know what I mean? But so with clothing, you can as long as you market.
Yeah.
And really show off your product in the right way. Like you're gonna get sales.
Yep.
It's such a hard industry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like product market fit though, right?
Yeah.
So your product has to fit with that specific type of person.
Oh, for sure.
But once you get that lined up,
yeah.
It's just a matter of how much advertising are you willing to pay for.
Yeah, it's so much like stress and blood, sweat, and tears, and once you feel like quitting, you're almost there. You're like, I just need to get over this hill. And it's like, there's so many hills, but it's like, once you look back and you're like, oh God, I've come so far. Mm-hmm. Why stop now?
What do you think your clothing line would look like? What do you think that would be?
Oh, I would probably, I would love to have a bikini line. When I was younger, I designed a bikini line, and I also designed this when Affliction was really popular. It's called Dirty Royalty. Mm-hmm. But that, I was 14 when I started sketching out stuff. My line would be just super feminine but masculine at the same time. So maybe a lot of pinks and lace, but leathers also.
Right, something to contrast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love a good pantsuit. So just like a really striking pantsuit line. Or not pantsuit, suits. Women's suits.
Right.
Yeah, pantsuits.
That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, seeing in my head, I was like, she got a top on. But yeah, I've always been the couture dresses. So like Oscar de la Renta has been something that I've always looked at, Valentino. And a lot of these designers didn't even go to school. They kind of were just born with it.
They're just artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just visionaries, because I used to do a little bit of modeling, and how I got into the fashion industry was seeing how passionate these designers were, and just seeing how when these clothes fit a model, they just lit up. And when I was like, I tried out for America's Next Top Model, because I'm like, I want to be part of it all. I want to be part of the photography. I want to be part of the makeup. I want to be their muse. I want to be part of this.
Right.
So it's always, I always went to, and I was always in art school or drama. I was always in something of expression.
Right.
And so I just always went to fashion, because it's so detailed and it's such a part of you. It's such your vision it's like painting a masterpiece or something. You're like, you step back and it all comes together. You're like, that's what I saw. This is it. Like,
it's interesting.
I'm able to put this on something.
Because like on all the TV shows that have that are fashion based, obviously anything you put on TV is going to be like out of this world,
for sure.
like outlandish, because it's TV.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and obviously you're like, well, nobody's ever going to like really wear that. Like it's just for somebody to like model.
Yeah.
Just, it's like, it seems like it's just to show the work of the designer.
Yeah.
And not really be a thing that exists. Is that like something
that... Yeah, from what
it's kind of like the fine art version of fashion.
Yeah, I think it's more showing their strength of what they can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people out there be like, I want that straight off the runway, or I love that designer. I know a few designers from Project Runway, not personally, but seen them actually get a career out of it. And it was nothing short of what they produced on the TV show. So, I mean, I think it all depends, because there's some clothes you're like, oh my God, who would wear that? But I think it's just the extravagance of like, this is what my strengths are. This is what I can do. This is my vision. And you can simplify it to something that people be like, okay, you don't look like a circus performer, or you're in a theater walking down, the street.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I encourage you to spend more time in your head about like what that clothing line is going to look like.
Yeah.
And
I'm already like writing things down, looking at it. Yeah, I really
just like make it happen.
I know.
Just do it.
The thing is, like, I can design it, I can't sew it.
Right. Well, you're gonna get people for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's your job to instill that vision.
Yeah. Because I would go through. Sorry.
No, it's just in the people that are gonna help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would love a seamstress to be like, oh, I can totally do that. It'd be crazy. It'd be like, I'm like, oh my, it'd almost scare me for them to be like, no, I can make that. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, now I need someone to wear it and buy it.
Yeah.
So there's so many things that go with it. Because I remember when I was younger, I would take magazines and see clothing that they'd be wearing, and I would draw like, an extra cape or, rip off shoes from another page and glue it on there, being like, this outfit will look good together. Do looks like
kind of like collage, like not collage it, but
like you see like a pant,
button it all together. Kind of thing.
Like a vision board of outfits. So I'd have my closet, like when I was in San Diego, I'd do that too, and my whole walk-in closet wall was just filled with these vision boards that I like these outfits. And sometimes I'd find pieces that were similar. I'm like, oh wow, this is the outfit have right here. So
right.
It's pretty fun.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm definitely gonna be telling everybody I know that gets spray tans that
or need new clothes or something, or they need to donate their clothes.
I really like that the way you put that together in terms of making something, making an experience out of something.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a lesson that every business can really apply, is like, what is the experience like for your customers to engage with your business, to buy from you. It could literally be anything.
Yeah.
But as long as you're like focused on making that experience great, that's really gonna bring people back.
Yeah.
Again and again and again.
I want it to be almost like a high-end shopping experience. I gave them Perrier water if they start shopping and like trying things on. Soon I'll be having like nice wine if they want to shop. So
I'm kind of also wondering too, like what you could do with kind of like building a system for like ambassadors or like influencers for your brand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you work out whatever deal you can come up with on your end, but basically they're like reps.
Yeah.
And you can kind of do that if you have some sort of, if you keep your brand cohesive and keep it to where it's almost like identifiable when somebody like got an outfit from your shop.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I'm working with a girl, her name's Becca. I try to work with only women that have their own businesses. Nothing against men, but I just want to, that's
right. No, we
thing.
Totally understand what you're saying.
But her name's Becca, and she just started a marketing company, and her work is just out of this world. She's worked for high-end fashion designers in LA, and she just, I reached out to her, and she's like, I'll get you a good deal. She's like, we can really work together, because my business is kind of a little bit shaky and all over the place, like what my vision is.
Right.
Well, it's also like you just fired up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is not.
Yeah, I'm trying to like really,
gonna be perfect.
Yeah,
yet.
I'm trying to go fast in traffic kind of thing. So I'm still ironing things out, but I do have a vision. I do know what I want out of my business, but I know what I want the end result to be.
Right.
When it comes to the middle, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to get to the end from a cohesive way.
Right.
So,
well, that's when you know, the more people you talk to, the more that's all going to fill in.
Yeah.
Because you just be like, learn something every day from somebody.
100%.
You know? And just like start plugging things in. And it's like, well, if it's too far out of alignment, it's like, don't plug it in, because then you're creating a distraction. You know, like a kind of, or an energy suck or something, you know? But that's great. And so she's going to help you out with, she's just going to be like right there with you, kind of like.
Yeah. From what I understand what she does, she makes it a look and she makes it a brand.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she's going to do branding. Yeah.
So when people like kind of, when you see Nike, you don't need Nike. You need that swoosh. You're like, that's Nike. Like, that's what I want with HellaTan. I want to be like, oh, what? That's HellaTan. Like,
right.
So
that's great.
I want to get somewhere like that.
Yeah. And so I think that could be like a great, model, like having, because the reason you need that brand in place is like, if you do want to have some sort of like rep or like ambassador system or something, you just need that like cohesive framework for everybody to adhere to.
Yes.
Otherwise you're creating a problem for yourself.
Right.
Which I'm learning. It's such a learning experience, because I was so like adamant about giving part of my business or receiving help.
Right.
And then I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing.
Tons of help.
Yeah. So I didn't know, anything until, I saw what I didn't know. I was like, oh shit. It's gonna, I want to franchise HellaTan, but the process of that is so much work.
Yeah.
And definitely. It really tests me, because I'm like easy being like, it's too hard. I like where I am, but now it's just like, now I have like a thirst for it to see what I can do. So,
well, I definitely know people who can like help with franchising, but I think there's a lot of like pre work to be done.
Oh yeah.
But it could be really.
It's an achievable goal.
It's an achievable goal, and then there are some apparently some businesses that really like, according to the people who I know who have franchised their businesses, they've said like, you should talk to the people who know about it, because a lot of businesses actually won't work well for it.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I have no idea with yours, and I've never I'm not a franchise expert.
Yeah.
But there are businesses that lend themselves better to being a franchise.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's like, because there's like a stack. I guess franchising is federally regulated.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's like a freaking, like, I don't know, like lawyers are involved. Like it's it's a big deal, like stacks of papers type, which it's like, don't let any of that stop you if you want HellaTan across the freaking country.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was talking to my tax lady, and she said taxes are different rules in each state.
Right.
So when you franchise, you have to make sure that's being done right. I'm like,
yep.
Oh.
Yep. The state to state is different.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I figured.
You get your operation dialed in.
Yeah.
Like a well-oiled machine first,
Yeah.
But then, because you also have to think about, like, do people have different style in different parts of the country? Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
So, and then, it's not like a gym per se, where it's like,
correct,
you just have the equipment.
And
that does not change.
Well, with HellaTan, what hopefully will be not the thrifted clothes. I mean, totally still doing the donations to women's shelters all over the country. Mm-hmm. But HellaTan would have its own clothing line, I guess you can say, that they could start off selling. And if, be up to somebody who owns a franchise to be like, whatever the style is, that's where they get their creativity going.
Right.
They get a little part of themselves in that place, so they become passionate about what they're doing. Instead of McDonald's, where it's like, it is a franchise, but it's done this way and this way. But with HellaTan, you just have a little bit of yourself. So you enjoy coming to work. You enjoy what you're doing, and it is a part of you. And I think that makes it so much more enjoyable when you have a business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Unless the person who buys it doesn't want to work in it at all.
Well, they shouldn't buy it.
There you go. But true. See, that's part of this process, right?
Yeah.
Is like you you say that.
Yeah.
And that goes in the basically in the presentation deck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love that.
That's really cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing how popular your shop gets.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I seen you on Instagram doing like the QVC stuff.
Oh, I love it. I'll be on there.
Yeah.
I know my goal is to be a shark on Shark Tank.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
To be the actual shark.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck
I want to
yeah.
be sitting down. So I think I watch Shark Tank all the time.
Lori can retire.
Yeah. I love Lori. Who would I take? I like all of them.
Who would be your shark if you could work with somebody?
Probably Mark.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Lori though, because I'm all about women empowerment. But
I kind of like Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like them all. I mean, they all have something to offer. I like the personality of Mark.
Yeah.
He's always about his. No, because Kevin's always about his dogs. You ever watch him? He's every time there's a dog kind of thing, he always tries to take people's dogs. It's so funny. But yeah, Mark is, I think, his personality, and Lori, because I mean, she's a boss.
Yeah.
She's the only woman that's really stayed there the longest.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
yeah.
All right. What are all your social handles so people can find you?
I have Hella_tan for Instagram. I have HellaTanBoutique.com.
Mm-hmm.
I have my Yelp reviews. And then my Facebook, which is HellaTan.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then just to be clear for everybody who wants to know physically where the shop is, it's what street is that actually?
Commercial Street. So it's the one, however you look at in front or behind the Valero, right in front of where that guy's mining.
Mm-hmm.
Right there on the 3 mile
yeah.
Maple Street exit.
Yeah, it's that big cement wall that goes up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good.
You can't miss it. It's hot pink and says I fake it.
Yeah. the
So-
letters are like chrome, right? Or that's based off my memory. So
They're hot pink, white, and then there's in the Hella is a woman's body laying down.
Right.
It's, Yeah.
So it's loud.
It is loud.
Good.
I know when they did it, I was like, oh, shit, that's big. You can see it from the freeway. That's what I wanted.
Nice.
Good.
So
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show.
yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
Yep.
Awesome.